I feel sorry for Taylor Swift. At the same time, we can all learn from her a big lesson how not to attract male gold diggers and why Travis Kelce is a gold digger. And I have lessons from Shira and Mina Irfan. Mril Masani, how do you do? Travis Kelce is the world's number one gold digger, and sadly, that's what feminism gets us, promoting us having a career. And Taylor Swift is the Michael Jackson of her time, filling stadiums, and what does she get out of it? A male gold digger who is using her to be Patrick the Project and is using her as Barbara the Builder so that she builds his career, and then he gets to the top and he dumps her and he'll spend all the money he saved on someone else, just like Offset did with Cardi B. They were splitting the bill and Cardi B was saying it's not realistic not to split the bill, and at the same time Offset was not only cheating on Cardi B, but he was spending all the money he was saving in spoiling his mistress. The problem with male gold diggers is, unlike female gold diggers such as Melania, is that male gold diggers are not loyal. Look at Melania. Donald Trump cheated on her, and she's still there. If she wasn't a gold digger, she'd be long gone, right? So we can argue female gold diggers are more loyal than women who marry for love, right? So there is a reason why affluent gentlemen marry gold diggers. However, the male gold digger, it's not male nature to be provided for. They don't like it. So men get provided for at a young stage, and then they save money in order to get the lady they want. I know this because I'm married to a former gold digger, my husband. That's right. When my husband was younger, in the unripe fruit stage in university, he would often get ladies to pay for dates with him, especially if they were feminist. He reasoned that he's a good-looking gentleman and he has his looks, his masculinity, and personality to offer. And what do those angry radical feminazis have to offer? Not looks, not personality, and not polarity. Therefore, he reasoned they should pay to bed him. If a lady was as attractive or the same value as him in the marketplace, he'd split the bill. And there were ladies that he wanted to pay for. And, when he was a young college student, we were not interested in some dusty, right? So he knew that once he had his fun, to get a high value lady, he had to get his master's and he had to go and start his business. He started his startup, and that is how he got to the next caliber. He knew, like most men know, that high value ladies, we have financial standards. So back when he was a broke student, he would use gullible ladies to save money, so eventually he can get the women he really wanted. He told me he didn't think of it in that way at all. He was just a young boy having fun. He didn't see logic, and then, as a grown man, he thinks, oh, this is quite awful. Like, I feel bad that I used people. But at the time it was happening, he was just a boy partying around, going to parties, making friends, having a good time. When you're in college getting drunk, going to parties, you're not thinking, you're just following your instinct. And he said that is where his instincts led him to. And only after, once he had his business, once he got married, he realized, oh my, that was probably not the right thing to do. That's why he told me to tell you, ladies, upon self-reflection. We don't have children, and I mentor young ladies, and he thought, the last thing he wants young girls to date was the party boy he was when he was younger. He wasn't thinking, he hurt ladies and he regrets it. By telling me to tell you ladies, this might break the cycle of these playboys taking advantage of ladies. So there are two types of men: K, as in legacy strategists, and R strategists, who are these players who will just play all day, play everyone, and not faithful. So legacy strategist gentlemen have a stage where they're unripe fruit, so they're building their career. That's why Shira 7 says don't be Barbara the Builder to what I call Patrick the Project. Because while gentlemen are being built, they don't think whoever's with them is their dream woman by definition. She is someone on a pedestal over there, right? So when they're beginning to build their name, they don't want to be who they're with, right? They have a type. For example, Trav Digger, which is what I like to call him, he prefers light skin, Rihanna type, black ladies, okay? So raven hair, light skin, okay? Exotic Miss Universe type beauties. And Taylor Swift is the first white girl he has dated, and for white gentlemen she's considered plain, whereas my dad's Lebanese, he says she's very beautiful, though he finds her voice whiny and annoying. He thinks it's a shame that such a beautiful lady comes with such a mediocre voice, whereas she cuts her hair deliberately and her aesthetic is deliberately to be relatable and mediocre, which is the source of all her problems in life, because then she manifests this mediocrity. Her whole thing is being relatable so that she can sell to losers, which are the biggest market, lowest common denominator. But the problem is you are what you think about the most, and especially what you sing about, right? What music you listen to. That becomes your reality. And I don't think the secret is woo. I hate that there's so much woo. But many psychologists, including mine, have seen studies results. My psychologist said it's more like the law of the bias, right? The law of the subconscious. That we have so much information in the world, millions of pieces left, right, and center, but we can only process so much, and our subconscious, which drives us, is also primitive. So it doesn't know negative or positive, it just knows go fetch. So if you say loser, loser, your subconscious thinks go fetch loser. Yes, loser! Let's go for all the losers. Where are the losers? Go fetch, right? And that's a problem. And it's just how you program your mind to gravitate to this and notice that. Because there's a lot of information. And what we think of the most and what we feel the most passionate emotional connection to, our subconscious will try to bring into our life. That's why I'm not relatable. I'm out of touch. I tried this relatable marketing once because a friend of mine had a lot of success. I'd say former friend actually, because of this. She had a lot of success with relatable marketing. And it was hurting my marriage. And I spoke to my psychologist and she said that, well, that's what I'm manifesting. That, I'm lowering myself to attract clients, and, my partner's vibrational. His energy's here, I'm lowering myself here. So of course that's creating marital tension, because you're becoming a loser to attract other losers, and you married a winner, and with winner mindset. So it's going to cause tension. What do you value more? Your marriage or these extra clients? So I thought, I'd rather go the slow path and keep my marriage and focus on what I want and ignore what I don't want and not be relatable, but be out of touch And my life worked out better by emotionally vibrating at a higher frequency. Back to my old frequency instead of trying to be relatable. I just tried to keep improving myself and attract others on the same level up journey, and everything worked out better. I lost my friend who was into relatable marketing, but you know what? I'm happier. An Indian doctor friend of mine said that she has a similar story where all the girls who failed medical school are actually the ones doing the best. Okay? Because they realized they, as ambitious as they are, they cannot succeed on their own through their grades and hard work. They need to use their beauty and social skills to succeed with a gentleman. So they used their looks, their personality, and worked on leveling themselves up for the dating and marriage marketplace and got married. So while the other ladies were struggling, studying really hard in medical school, and in medical school you don't have a really comfortable life while you're studying. The girls who failed medical school were traveling to Maldives, to Paris, shopping trips, living the soft life as housewives. And my friends' colleagues were so upset. They said, it's not fair. We worked really hard. They didn't even study, some of them. They failed and they're using their looks. And look, they're ahead of us. And it's true. Then what happens is if you lead with, I'm a doctor, so-and-so. Shira talked about it, that women's ego, they lead with their career. The next thing, you attract someone who wants to marry you because you're a doctor, because you make money and help them save on rent. And then the next thing, they save on rent and they're saving all this money. So they can, like Offset, he was saving money with Cardi B, so he can spend it on the side chick that he really wanted. Gentlemen rest in their alpha male. So if you tell a gentleman that you are such a good provider, he'll say, oh, then provide. If you tell him how good you are at karate, he will say, wow, then protect. One of my friends, was a fitness model, and she was always showing off how strong she was, right? And how she could lift these big weights and how strong. So she was showing this off, like at the gym, how she could lift all these big weights, right? And she showed off to her boyfriend. So they were moving in her stuff. And she said, oh, he should get the movie. She said, it's all right, I've got it covered. And so got it covered means he expected her and him, the day of moving. She didn't even have time to call her other friends. He expected her to move the stuff. They had to move it together. And she said, you know what? Moving a weight up and down in 2 seconds is one thing, it's doable. But moving a whole couch up and down across the street, I am sorry. She said she was so angry at her boyfriend and so upset, and he didn't understand why. He said, well, you say how you're strong, well, lead. Mina Irfan said her first husband that she divorced, and this is a typical pattern. She showed off how she could do everything, and then he let her do everything because he was resting in his alpha male. Alpha, so to conserve energy in the wild. That's what men do, and that's what predators do in the wild, actually. They don't look for fights or anything. If they can conserve energy, they will. So when Mina was offering to do everything, her ex-husband, rested in his alpha male and let her do everything. Then she resented him because she was doing everything. And that's the modern woman. She shows she's capable, and then men rest in their masculine, in their alpha, and say, well, then do everything. And then the women resent that they're pulling the whole load of the relationship. They're carrying 80%, even 100% of the relationship. And they wonder how they got there. And usually by showing off, which Shira points out and Mina points out. Mina said when she started dating her husband, her current husband. She learned the lesson, and when he said, let's go hiking, she's like, I didn't like that so much. She's like, no, 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 you'll enjoy it. She made sure that she wore her highest heels that were inappropriate towards hiking, and that he had to carry her the whole time and had absolutely no fun. And he said, you know what? You're a very feminine lady. You're much better for restaurant dates. And then he provided for her, right? And when he's the provider for you, he invests in you, he loves you. And this is true across cultures. That's why 50-50 doesn't work. Because he's not investing in you. Subconsciously, his mind thinks that you're a lower level woman. So he's looking for the high level woman who doesn't accept him at the unripe fruit stage. So when he finally achieves his career goals, then he dumps Barbara the builder and gets the dream girl. Shira 7 has an excellent video on how she stole her husband from his ex-wife. She was dating a married gentleman. I don't take issue with sugar babes or ladies who are, like Shira, approached by married gentlemen, right? But I do take issue with homewreckers. Ladies who date, they know that their best friend is married and they actively pursue the husband of their friend who was not, interested in dating them, and aggressively pursue someone who has a family that they know. I don't support this. I don't support aggressively trying to break up a family. However, if he is not into the marriage and he is pursuing mistresses outside the marriage, I don't judge. I do teach being high agency or taking responsibility, that it gets us nowhere to say women are always innocent, blah blah blah, right? Of course, there are men who cheat no matter what. Ostriches or dogs, they'll cheat on anything that moves. We should of course avoid those, but we're not talking about those. We're talking about a gentleman who would stay faithful to his wife. Look at Charles with Camilla, right? He was not faithful to Diana, but he doesn't cheat on Camilla, right? When you have someone who would be faithful to his wife had she not done XYZ, we can learn from this and we can avoid those bad habits. We don't learn from women being always innocent, right? We learn from, maybe he shouldn't have cheated, but I would rather be safe than sorry and not do those things, right? So what did James, or Shira's husband's ex-wife, do that got him running away from the marriage, looking at any exit? And Shira was the first exit point, right? He was looking for an excuse to get out of his marriage. Why? Because his wife was so masculine. She was a career woman who led with her career, right? And so he was looking for the first escape. And Shira said she's still unmarried, whereas she was a breath of fresh air, because Shira led in her femininity with her hobbies and made her husband feel relaxed, whereas his wife was always arguing work, 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 this, always tension at home. If you lead with your career, sadly, you will get rewarded by cheating and by well-meaning gentlemen who will then leave you out of frustration for their sugar baby. You have Bill Clinton, let's say. And then you also have male gold diggers, like in the case of Travis Kelce. Look at his latest outfit. He is sugar signaling there to show the next Kim Kardashian, that this is his level. He needs his woman to buy him designer, to buy him cars, and then he'll date her. Right now, he is not built, right? So who would be built? Tom Brady Ronaldo, Messi, we didn't know who they were, most people didn't know, until they got their first game, right? So he got his first Super Bowl. Usually it's your second or third win that you become a star, right? And he wanted to take the shortcut. So before he even got to the Super Bowl, he decided to jump on the Taylor train because Taylor was so excited that he was a football captain. Travis was so excited that Taylor Swift was the biggest star in the world who could uplift his career. So, what are some of the signs of the male gold digging? First of all, he is clearly a Republican, right? Because gentlemen are disagreeable. So, if all his friends are X, then he's also X. Because why would he hang out with anyone different? If all his friends are hardcore Trumpist Republicans, then why would he hang out with anyone different, right? So then he is one himself, right? And Taylor Swift is screaming loud how she's a Democrat. And he's not making fun of this. He's not saying, hey, girl, that's stupid. Right? He's not saying any of this. He's not saying, listen, Kamala doesn't know what she's doing. And really, it's all about Trump and eat the cat, meow, 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 boom, boom, barabarum, whatever the argument is, right? And again, here I'm not going to get into a political argument, but if you're dating a Republican, right, and all of a sudden he's quiet about his Republican views, he did an ad for COVID medicine, vaccine, or something of the sort, then he did a Bud Light ad, just dancing on that money train, right? Very spineless. Why? Because he's saving money so that he can get the young Rihanna, the younger generation Rihanna, celebrity that he really is into. He doesn't like white girls based on his previous dating. How else do we know he's a male gold digger? Well, his friends kept saying and joking, you should make an honest woman out of Taylor, so when are you going to propose, when are you going to propose? And he would tell them to lay off. It means he never had an interest to propose. Also, gentlemen typically propose within half a year to a year. So he's just coasting along, and whenever his friends bring up the topic, he says, you know what, let's change it, let's talk about something else. And Elon Musk called him on it. What Elon Musk said was gross, but at the same time, so Taylor Swift said she's a childless cat lady. While in a relationship! That is so sad. Anyway, and Elon Musk called Travis out and said that he is willing to provide children. Travis is not providing them. He's more than willing to provide her children and take care of her cats. Elon Musk called out Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on their relationship because Taylor Swift has this main character energy. She's like the Andrew Tate of women, right? As in the one who can get a stadium full of low-value losers with no self-esteem, right? She can get a male gold digger like Travis Kelce who has no self-respect, right? Who is riding her coattails to accumulate resources and then will jump off her coattails after he gets the resources. But she cannot get a serious quality relationship with a high-value gentleman like Amal and George Clooney. She just can't do it, right? Things we like to have our level of self-esteem confirmed and validated. So I have high self-esteem, and if they're not calling me a queen and a princess and rolling the red carpet for me, I think they're crazy, I have no attraction to someone like that whatsoever, right? But if you have low self-esteem, you think the person is low value if they don't make you jump through hoops and audition for them, right? When I was ugly, I thought, a man must be high value if I have to work to get his attention. But when I had a makeover and became beautiful, everyone thought of me as gorgeous, cultured, and so on. If someone did not find me beautiful, well, then he must be gay, right? And if he's well, he has no taste. He must be a broke dusty if he doesn't know how to open the red carpet for a beautiful lady. Of course, he should open the door and give me the princess treatment, right? If he doesn't know how to give a princess the princess treatment, he's never been around princesses because he's a broke dusty loser, and what should I have to do around him, right? He's never met a princess before, and as princesses, of course, it's only princess treatment or bye-bye. If Taylor Swift was a Republican and was dating a noted Democrat and was all MAGA Trump, 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 that person, I would say, is probably there for pay, for seeing what he can do to milk the relationship to get some benefits and would move on, right? So it's not whether or I want to move the politics out of it, just simply that they have different political opinions, and Trav Digger is acting like the lady, being submissive and doesn't talk about his opinion, while Taylor, the fool, is loud and proud, right? So Trav Digger is letting her lead and letting her carry the whole relationship and do all the work as he coasts along and uses her to get to the next level. With the law of polarity, someone is the leader and someone is the pet. So find someone who is a leader that you can respect their leadership. If being a Democrat is important to you, well, then don't date Republicans. You have to pick what is important to you and date someone you respect. And in life, there are trade-offs. A lot of Democrat men don't provide, protect, commit, and like to split the bill 50-50, are not gentlemen. And if you're okay with that because it's much more important for them to be a Democrat, then go with that, right? Respect your date. Stop being Andrew Tate and stop negging your date. How would you feel if you're on a date with a misogynist who said, "Nice boobies, are they real?" Would you like that? No, right? Only a low-value loser would still go on a second date with someone like this. Or someone desperate for money, elevating their status that has no dignity. Sadly, they're pick-me-shas chasing bad, affluent men for a few coins who mistreat them, right? So we're hearing about Puff Daddy, and we hear about, the porta parties in Dubai, what women would do. So Travis Kelce is kind of like the male version of a Dubai porta party. All his friends are Republican, and she always trashes the Republican Party. So if he really loved her, he would have left long ago. Disrespect makes high-value ladies and gentlemen fall out of love like this. And that same disrespect is a love potion for losers with low self-esteem. Don't contradict men's views in public. If you don't like his views, don't date him. You can be kindly, find something different in private, but marriage, people like to have things in common. And if the things close to your heart are not things you two have in common, and somebody else will arrive who's also pretty and has things in common, and then he'll say bye-bye to you. One of my ladies was actually a Republican, and living in Africa. I'm not naming the country, not to identify her, but she was dating a well-to-do gentleman in America who was a Democrat. And, I said, well, what you have to do is let him be the leader and let him lead. And she said, but he says such victim mindset things that it drives her nuts. I said, well, victim mindset men can, take out their frustration on their women, and they can be violent, actually. So that's a red flag, right? Is that what you're afraid of? She said, actually, that is it. So I said, then, the victim mindset thing is the problem, not him being a Democrat. She said, actually, yeah. So I said, then you shouldn't date him. You can find someone else, whether he's Democrat or Republican, who doesn't have a victim mindset, and date him. Gentlemen marry ladies they vibe with, not the energy. Or she's just a starter wife. She's just a pit stop or to his next destination. So, yeah, if you're not vibing, you should be leaving. One of my ladies, her date, after he proposed, kept trying to turn her into a pack donkey, but before they were engaged, he was indulging her in her housewife fantasies, and then once he got her engaged, so he would get rid of her rotation, all of a sudden he was, you have to change, you have to be a corporate career woman. He kept putting her down for being feminine, and he wanted her to be like his mother. And she hated it, and she dumped her fiance because she said, I'm not going to be happy. You know who I was at the beginning. Why are you trying to change me? I'll simply be miserable if I changed because I am nagged. Accept people as they are and don't change them. If you don't like the full package, you don't like that he's Republican, it annoys you, then don't date Republicans. If you're bashing Republicans all the time, but dating one, he's using you. Trav Digger responded by not responding at all. He made some joke about some Cybertruck paint coat or something, Basically, he did not defend his girlfriend and threw her out to the wolves. So he did not protect Taylor. When he's not protecting you, he's not providing for you. And that means he's reserving this for another lady in the future who's not you. If he was dating his dream girl, let's say it's Rihanna, and someone said something of this type, Mark Zuckerberg, let's say, or Donald Trump made fun of his girlfriend. Look at how George Clooney jumped to the defense of Amal when Biden, or I think it was Biden, who complained about her sentencing Netanyahu, with the war crimes, and George Clooney picked up the phone, called the White House, and said, you are unfair to my wife. How dare you say mean things to her, right? See, maybe Amal Clooney made a mistake. And here is the thing. When a woman goes into politics, we're going to be attacked. It's just how it is. Politics is a blood sport. George Clooney is a perfect example of a gentleman who married his dream girl. So what Amal Clooney did, I think in a way, I know politics, I worked at the parliament. It is very much like politics, many blood-sucking creatures. You have a jar filled with tarantulas and the lid is closed, right? So when you go into politics, it's not, my boss said politics is not a place for women. It's a men's locker room where everything is about whose thing is bigger. He pointed to his thing. It was not a good thing. But that's what it is in politics they will go after any vulnerability you have, and as a woman we're very vulnerable, so attacks will be nastier on us because we're more vulnerable. And in politics they go after everything. Look at Trump. They had two moderators. The moderators were all ganging up on him. One of them was Kamala Harris's sorority sister, and then also Kamala. And then so the questions they asked him was the equivalent of, what is pi to the 10th decimal? And now what, you are a terrible human being, a fascist, not knowing that. And then they ask Kamala, so what color is a yellow school bus? So it was the equivalent of that. Were the debates unfair? Absolutely, the debate was unfair, right? And Trump keeps on going. Trump had 2 assassination attempts on his life. Is that unfair? Yes. You know, they will attempt to take away your life in politics. That's unfair, right? So when you're a woman, of course, you will get attacked. And you'll get attacked worse than gentlemen because you're more vulnerable. That's just how it is, right? So it's like sticking your finger into the electric socket. If you know what you're doing, good. Like Kamala was prepared, at least, But I feel for feminine ladies like Amal or Taylor Swift, who think they're doing the good thing to be involved in politics only to get really attacked, right? And, so George Clooney did the right thing to call the White House and say, you know what, this is my woman, how dare you? Even if it didn't have an effect, that shows he's a man in love. He genuinely loves his wife and invests in her because she's his dream girl. After Elon Musk offering to impregnate his girlfriend, Trav Digger's silence spoke volumes. If your boyfriend is not defending you, get a new one. He's just not that into you. So what else can we learn from this situation? Taylor Swift is being loud and proud with her views. Sadly, we do have a trade-off in life, because gentlemen like to be respected and admired. That's their number one. So if you're running around and saying how you're the leader, vote Democrat, etc., but your boyfriend is a Republican, his friends are Republican, it doesn't end well. He ends up replacing you for someone who looks up to him like a god. It is what it is. Let's look at Giselle, right? Tom Brady replaced her with an Instagram model who looks like her, but looks up to him. Wow. Tom Brady. Most power couples don't work out because gentlemen crave that admiration, almost like a mentor-mentee relationship. Even if it's somewhat equal, they do crave respect and admiration, not being bossed around and told what to do and disrespected. Another thing I learned from being autistic and from etiquette, because one of the things we autists struggle with is we either talk too much or too little. And I learned that I shouldn't hog the conversation and not be the attention hog at parties. But as the Queen Mother said, let other people shine, right? Because if you hog all the spotlight to yourself, people will stop liking you. You hog the conversation. So when Taylor Swift would go to Trav Digger's games, she would hog all the spotlight and the attention away from the game. So ESPN and football fans kindly said, you know what? Can we have less coverage of Taylor Swift? No one listened. They just kept putting her more and more and more and panning the camera over to them smooching when they wanted to hear what were the sports statistics, right? And instead of being respectful, Taylor Swift complained about the dads and chads, Brads and chads. So she complained about the fans of, or rather the clients of her boyfriend, right? And she dissed the clients of her boyfriend. Well, if they were in a romantic relationship, he would have dumped her. But because he's a gold digger, very much like Trump cheated on Melania because she's a gold digger, she stayed. Well, however, she keeps staying. However, Trav digger, his clients were insulted by his girlfriend. He let it go because his girlfriend is helping him get contracts and build a business empire. When he has no more use for his girlfriend, he'll find someone more respectful who is a better fit. So one of his friends got in trouble by making a statement that was very traditional and religious, right? And Taylor Swift didn't stand by her man, didn't stand by his friends, She's always going for her agenda. That is the opposite of what her man stands for. And she does not submit to her man, but she leads her man. And who would be in such a relationship? Someone who would let the woman lead, to let her do everything. And that's why you have such a high divorce rate in America. Men will rest in their alpha male. They'll let the woman do everything, right? Oh, you want to lead? Sure. You want to provide, protect? Sure, commit. Okay, propose to me, right? Give me the ring. And they do this, and then the woman, after she finally gets the ring, is wondering, what do I get out of this relationship where I'm doing everything, he's doing nothing? Nothing at all. See, that's unfortunately where modern Western feminism has led us. A friend of mine from either Oxford or Cambridge University said that her very successful, career-minded female friends who always led with their career, and Shira always warns against this too. On a date, not say, oh, I am a partner in the top law firm in the United Kingdom, look at me. Don't do that, okay? Instead you say, you know what, yes, I am working in the legal field, but my hobby is what I prefer doing. I just work for a living. I really don't care about my job. I like to, play piano, it makes me happy, or I like to read novels, whatever it is. So she said many of her friends, my friend said many of her friends, became law partners. Also, one of my friends, again, law partner, we are not in touch anymore. No partner in sight, though she always was a serial monogamist, right? And then our mutual friend, who was the one struggling in my math class that we helped out, she is living the life in Dubai as a housewife. And eventually got her master's too. It's social skills and game that get ladies ahead, and not your career. You need enough of a job to pay the rent, because if you're dating when you're broke, it will mess up the relationship. When you expect the man to, be like your father and bail you out, men don't respect that. So you should be able to pay your own rent, and after that, you should rest and quite quit and enjoy your life and have hobbies and be European. Have a life outside of work. Europeans work to live, not live to work. My friend said that her high-powered career friends were just like Taylor Swift songs. They would do anything to grab the low-value, broke, dusty loser just to show that they have a man, and they would even propose to him and so on, split the bill and all of this. And these gentlemen would use them as a starter wife to save on rent, especially as they're going through medical school, right? And then when they become a doctor, and then when they finally pay off enough of their student loan and can finally invest this money in a female gold digger, they dump Barbara the builder, right? It's like blind people. What's the first thing they throw out once they have an operation and can see? Their crutches, right? And this Barbara the builder, who builds with an unripe fruit, is the crutch, right? Why? So gentlemen don't want to be mommied. They want to have pride. It's very important to them. So when they finally feel that they are a man and they're ready to be the man and take care of family, right? When they have reached the point in their career where they feel, you know what, now I am the man, I can get who I want, that is when they marry. It doesn't mean that they wait to become a billionaire to marry, but when they feel that they can be responsible and take care of a family, they often desire to marry at the same time. It's different for different people. Trav Digger wants to be a big star to get a young Rihanna. That is very clear. So that's why he's using Taylor. And very likely he'll use Kim Kardashian next to get to the next level. And then after this, he will finally have the money that he can actually, and fame, that he can actually have who he really wants. And probably it will be an Instagram model. It will be someone who looks up to him in admiration and who will take direction from him, who will admire and respect him, who will not make fun of his friends and call them, and his clients, and call them Brads and Chads and Dads. Taylor Swift has a lot of main character energy and feels because she can fill stadiums. She knows everything, and she has the right to disrespect Trav Digger's friends because she thinks they are wrong, right? That Kamala is the answer, right? Because she fills stadiums and Trav Digger doesn't. Kanye felt this dynamic with Kim Kardashian, and that's why he had a mental health breakdown. She left him after it. He was trying to make it work. Ironically, he sang the song Gold Digger, but he was the gold digger in the story. Kanye was the gold digger in the Kardashian story because he came to the family with lots of debt and financially illiterate, and the Kardashians taught him how to be a financial power and how to get his money in order. And there is this Kardashian curse where the women are so competent they can't keep a man because they bust his balls. When I started my career in the parliament, I was bragging to my grandfather, look at my career, look at how I'm doing this and that, how awesome I am. I worked for Cambridge University before. And he said, listen, Mashinka, it's not going to make you happy if you lead with your career. Because at the end of the day, men want to feel useful. He says he loves grandma, but he feels useful. That he comes back from work and gives her his salary, that he can do something for her. If she's I'm strong, independent woman, he's like, you're already a man, why do you need a man? And you know, I would rather be a man for a woman who needs a man. My grandfather said that men need to feel needed in order to feel loved. If you fill up entire stadiums, then what's the point of him? Ironically, the only person who could love Taylor Swift right now would be Elon Musk. If she learns a lesson in humility and takes direction from him and stops making fun of his supporters. It's said that biology is what it is, and we cannot outrun nature. So, the lessons we can learn from this to avoid male gold diggers, by the way, they're very interesting ones. There is a whole documentary of Western women called My Muhammad is Different, where they go to, they have romance tourism in other countries, and they all believe the romance that their Muhammad is different, when in reality, in Egypt, there are a lot of male gold diggers who go for female love tourists, and they demand that they have a male bride price from these women. And then all the money they save in the marriage, then they end up divorcing and spending this on the younger wife. So be warned. So the first thing, how do you know he's using you? If you look at all his exes and they're all one type and you look different, that's already a red flag. 2, if you write desperate songs about chasing men, or you chase men or a desperate pick-me, he's probably using you. Oh my goodness. Taylor Swift has this lyric, right? So she sings how she got drunk in the bar, and then she got into her car, and then she baughed and cried like a baby, and then drove over to her crush, and she said his body is blue, basically that he makes her sad. And she drove right in there, and it was free Uber Eats free kitty cat. Climbed over the fence to his home and opened her legs, and said he was grinning like a devil. What the hell? And you complain about relationships by advertising you're the dumbest woman in the world? I'm sorry. Ladies, if you're a Swiftie for any reason, and there is no shame. Sometimes we like just garbage music, right? Sometimes we like the tune, it's catchy. Hide this. Gentlemen think you're an easy, cheap, dumb floozy, okay? Because, the song about the bar, I'm sorry. That's stupid. Another thing, it's the worst thing is her boyfriend said he likes this line that she makes the bad boys good for a weekend. That means she's a young, dumb, cheap floozy. They're not so young. That's what you communicate, that you're not accountable for your life choices. You make lots of stupid choices. The dumber, the better. You're usually inebriated, and you're very easy to manipulate, take advantage of, to be used as free kitty, and have no standards. That's her genre of music, okay? If you advertise you're that dumb, there'll be someone trying to take advantage of you. So you know what? Don't do that. Don't associate yourself with people who do dumb things for love or romance or whatever, okay? Have some strategy and you'll be respected. If someone says something mean about you, who's prominent, right? And your boyfriend does not defend you, then he's not into you, right? If you're splitting the bills or providing, then he is resting in his masculine, letting you provide, so that he can save money for his dream girl. Don't fall for that. Also, don't be disrespectful. Remember, a gentleman's opinions and looking up to him for leadership is the most important to a masculine gentleman who's invested in a relationship. As intellectual as Amal Clooney is, I don't see her making fun of or disparaging Hollywood. She respects her husband George Clooney's career. Amal respects George, and George respects Amal. Amal's career is more of her hobby. She's not a workhorse 24/7. She was known for doing what she enjoys, being a 9 to 5 lady, rather than break her back to make partner. Ladies, so don't lead or you will end up divorced or breaking up, because then he'll let you lead and you will carry all that. If you don't want to do something, don't show off how you're the number one at it. And also remember, it's important for men to feel needed and to feel respected. I hope that helps, and let me know in the comments what's your favorite tip or strategy to avoid male gold diggers, and who are other notorious male gold diggers among celebrities that we should take note of. See you next time. Please hate or like, share and subscribe. Ciao.